I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul.
I don't like this, by the way, mate. I don't like it. No, I don't like it either. The way that Joshua see it is as a money grab. He'll see it as an easy money grab, but at this stage of his career, is it a fight he should be taking? Nah.
The guy who finally put an end to this Jake Paul thing, right? If he goes out there and puts Jake Paul in the dirt, he's going to be heralded. He's going to be a hero.
When hype meets reality, only one survives. Eddie Hearn has caused ripples throughout the boxing world as he unleashed a brutally honest warning about Jake Paul's decision to step into the ring with Anthony Joshua. According to Hearn, Jake isn't just taking a risk. He's walking straight into the biggest mistake of his entire career. The Matchroom boss made it clear that this fight isn't some flashy Netflix stunt or another easy payday. It's a move that could permanently derail Jake Paul's boxing future. Hearn stressed that Joshua's terrifying power, championship experience, and overwhelming physical dominance would leave Jake completely outgunned, turning this showdown from entertainment into a battle for survival. In his view, Jake Paul is crossing a line that entertainers simply don't cross if they want their careers to last.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, 50-50-50 fight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitates a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ Polaked him, and everyone just said he's just an MMA fight. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But, as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world...
Jake Paul is once again shaking up the boxing world as reports explode across the media claiming he's deep in negotiations for a shocking heavyweight showdown with Anthony Joshua next month in Miami, with Netflix preparing to stream the clash worldwide. If finalized, this would be the biggest and most dangerous leap of Jake Paul's career, a dramatic jump from his usual mix of influencers, MMA fighters, and aging names to a prime, two-time unified heavyweight world champion. Joshua, who last competed in September 2024, remains one of the most destructive forces in the division, making this matchup far beyond anything Jake has ever stepped into. Eddie Hearn has confirmed that Matchroom has been actively exploring the idea, and while this fight was originally something for the distant future, the sudden collapse of Jake Paul's bout with Gervonta "Tank" Davis has unexpectedly pushed the timing forward. Though Hearn insists the talks are still at an early and informal stage with no contract signed, he admits the scheduling shakeup has opened a new window for a blockbuster event that wasn't expected this soon. Even so, he was clear that Joshua's main mission is still reclaiming the heavyweight crown and chasing a mega fight with Tyson Fury. While the Jake Paul matchup is possible, Hearn stressed that Joshua's priority remains securing another world title run, not jumping into a spectacle for social media buzz.
Myself and Nikisa, I think Jake and AJ have spoke as well. You know, from our point of view, if we're going to have a run-out fight, why not run out against Jake Paul, you know, for a lot of money? So there's ongoing conversations there. I can't tell you it's close. I can't tell you we've seen a contract. But if he genuinely wants to fight Anthony Joshua, I don't see why we wouldn't have a chance to do that fight. But, you know, our focus is on really charge for the World Heavyweight Championship and a charge at Tyson Fury. We can't control that either. So, like I said, that's why I said to you, absolutely at the moment.
Eddie Hearn has doubled down on his warnings about a potential clash between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, making it clear that this matchup goes far beyond hype or entertainment. According to Hearn, the fight is a brutally unfair mismatch, shaped by the massive difference in size, experience, and knockout power separating the two men. He explained that the danger Jake would face isn't some exaggerated narrative used to sell tickets. It's a very real threat that could seriously damage Paul's career or even bring it to an abrupt end. Hearn believes the physical risk is so significant that no amount of commercial appeal or Netflix buzz can justify rushing into it without deep, serious consideration from everyone involved.
James, quickly, I watched Jake Paul the weekend. I feel a bit dirty saying that because I'm not a fan of his, but he didn't say after the fight that he's sort of having DMs or he's dropping text messages to AJ. They're having a chat about a potential fight. What's your view on that, Eddie?
Well, look, he's calling out Gervonta Davis, who is a 135-pound lightweight, and he's calling out Anthony Joshua, that's a heavyweight monster. I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. it's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul. Hopefully not literally, but it's that dangerous that, you know, it's a fight that I don't think should really happen, if I'm honest. I would say about Jake Paul, and I've said this in a couple of interviews today, I do think you start after giving him a margin of respect. You know, I think this guy is going through the motions. He's putting the hard spars in. He just went 10 rounds with, yes, a washed-up fighter, but a former world champion that did train for that fight. But they're very clever in terms of the opponents that they pick. They're not going to gamble unless the money's out of control. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jake Paul, wanted to move forward with an Anthony Joshua fight. Honestly, AJ's coming tonight. He's not exactly looking at Jake Paul going, oh, that's my dream opponent. Would he go in there and give him a hiding for, you know, a massive chunk of money? Probably. I'd be saying, yeah, go on.
Mike Coer of The Ring has raised major red flags about the brewing talks of a Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua showdown, arguing that Jake's interest in the fight seems driven far more by the massive payday than any genuine sporting logic. Coer reports that discussions have progressed to an advanced stage, yet several crucial hurdles remain unresolved, particularly involving broadcast rights and sanctioning approval. He highlighted that Joshua is an enormous leap in size, strength, and elite-level experience compared to anyone Jake has ever faced, making the matchup a genuine safety concern rather than just an ambitious challenge. While the commercial appeal could push the fight forward, Coer emphasized that the threat to Jake Paul's boxing credibility, and potentially his long-term health, is impossible to ignore. At this point, it's still unclear whether the bout would be sanctioned as a professional fight or treated as an exhibition. No official ruling, regulatory terms, or rule set has been released to the public, leaving major unanswered questions about whether it would count on either fighter's official record and what level of oversight the commissions would enforce if the deal eventually goes through.
Breaking story on Ring Magazine, Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul are finalising a deal for a heavyweight fight on Netflix in December in Miami. Sources tell the Ring Magazine's Mike Coppinger. What do you make of that?
Well, Anthony Joshua was talking about wanting warm-up fights before going into bigger fights, but look, it's prize fighting at the end of the day, and the way that Joshua will see it, and Matchroom and all the team, the fans won't like this, by the way.
I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either. The way that Joshua will see it is as a money grab. He'll see it as an easy money grab, but at this stage of his career, is it a fight he should be taking? Nah, definitely not.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be licensed because it's a really dangerous fight.
Do we know if it's an exhibition or a real fight?
I don't know yet, but I don't think they should be allowing Anthony Joshua in a ring with Jake Paul. It's dangerous.
It can't be a real fight, because if it's a real fight, Anthony Joshua would take Jake Paul's head clean off. So it can't be a real fight.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah,
I don't want to see a man decapitated in Miami in a ring in December.
Listen, and that's what will happen. So
many respected figures in the boxing world have blasted the growing talk surrounding Jake Paul stepping into high-level contention, with some completely rejecting the idea altogether. Veteran heavyweight warrior Derek Chisora has been especially vocal, tearing into the notion of Jake Paul being considered for a WBC ranking. Chisora didn't hold back, calling the entire concept an insult to the sport and a slap in the face to fighters who spent years battling through the traditional ranks. In his view, rewarding Jake with such recognition undermines the integrity, hardship, and legacy that real boxers fight to uphold.
You've said they're going to give a cruiserweight ranking to the winner of this fight. Do you think they deserve one?
No, I don't think so. I don't know why. It's hard enough for real athletes, for real boxers to get those rankings, and then suddenly this Solomon Tuesday decides to give double ranking because he's getting some greens in his back pocket. No,
Despite the storm of criticism surrounding Jake Paul's pursuit of an Anthony Joshua showdown, the conversation continues to explode across the boxing world. Legendary figures, mainstream analysts, and fans everywhere are fiercely divided. Some insist Paul is wildly overestimating himself by targeting a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua, calling the idea reckless, unrealistic, and flat-out delusional. Others argue that Jake's willingness to challenge giants deserves respect, pointing out that he's calling out names many active contenders wouldn't dare mention. Even Amanda Serrano and respected insiders like Dan Rafael have backed claims that Jake was lined up for massive fights with Gervonta Davis and other elite opponents, fueling the belief that Paul isn't afraid of taking huge risks. Supporters say that while Joshua poses a monumental threat, Jake's ambition and star power inject excitement the sport desperately needs, bringing new audiences and global attention with every move he makes. And now the question hangs heavier than ever. Is Jake Paul biting off more than he can chew with Anthony Joshua, or is this the shockwave boxing has been waiting for? Let us know your take in the comments. And before you go, make sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more explosive boxing breakdowns.